Let's build the perfect survival lighthouse in Raft. Hi friends, and welcome back to Raft. Today's build tutorial is actually a redesign of a previous build that I made, but hopefully this time with better progressive details and much better audio. This specific design is meant to be built up as you progress through a save, rather than focusing on a huge structure all at once, and I'll display relative interior design for each stage of the game. Each subsequent floor of the lighthouse can be used for a new purpose to aid you on your journey and make your ocean survival a little bit easier. But without further ado, let's build the perfect survival raft, the floating lighthouse. We're going to start our base layer with a 12x9 rectangle with rounded edges by using the triangle foundations in the corners. On PC, you can mirror the wood direction on triangle floors and foundations by using the Z key so that your corners don't have a wood grain that goes against the rest of your foundations. This rectangle is the most basic layer of your raft that you can start almost immediately in a new world, and it makes up the foundation for your lighthouse. This base can be much bigger than this example, but this is the amount necessary to fit the rest of the lighthouse comfortably. You can also replace every edge piece that you want with collection nets to better aid your flotsam gathering, although I recommend placing a line of nets one tile in along the back long edge for maximum efficiency while maintaining aesthetics. Whatever rim layout you decide to go with, you'll want to fully fortify the exterior by using the last option at the top of the build menu called Foundation Armor. That will prevent our friend Jeremiah from causing issues down the line. If you don't have access to metal yet, you can always build sacrificial triangles using one plastic and one plank roughly every other square, and he'll go after those until you're ready to fortify your exterior. Once you've built up your base layer, we're going to start by building the house part of the lighthouse so that you have somewhere to put all of your stuff. That starts on the middle square of the right edge, and you want to build a half window on the interior edge of that square, and then place one half wall on either side. Bring that towards the interior by one half wall on either side, and then top it off with a triangle sloping up towards the interior of your raft. Flatten out the inside with standard floors, and connect the sides of your triangles with roof pieces. Note that from here on out, you can choose to build the house structure one half wall up with the raised foundations, which looks a bit more balanced, but is significantly more expensive. Or you can just keep it on the base foundation layer, which is a lot cheaper. I'll be demonstrating with the raised foundation layer because I think it looks better, but note that that is not necessary for the rest of the build. On either side of your little structure, place one full wall going out towards the front and towards the back of your raft. Then we're going to connect the sides using a simple triangle shape with half walls and triangles, and capping it with the pointed triangle wall piece. I like doing this face of the house with 3 half windows in a triangle orientation, but you could easily do a fully solid wall or one window or whatever wall variation you like here. Moving around to the back of your house, you'll do one full wall, one full window, one full wall, one full window, and one full wall. Then we're going to swap to the front, for which we will have the exact same layout, but place a door instead of a wall in the center. Also in the front, we're going to extend the roof of the front porch by adding a row of square floors all the way across the front. And if you are using the raised platforms, add a railing along the front of that too. Line the roof all the way with horizontal cheap pillars, and place a vertical expensive pillar in either corner. To build the fourth wall, place one full wall on either side, and then an upside down triangle sloping towards the center. You may need a scaffold to place that triangle on, so I recommend a cheap wooden window as it will return all of the materials again once you destroy it. Connect your triangles with a cheap horizontal half pillar and fill in the remaining triangle shape the same way you did on the other side of the house. As for the roof, place one full layer of complete roofing all the way along both edges and through the middle, connecting it at the very top with the A-shaped roof cap. In the 2 middle rows, place one layer of roof, then a half window with a double-sided triangle on top. Connect that window to the roof by using upside-down triangles on either side, and an A-frame roof on top of that. Repeat this process for all of the interior lanes, and finally connect them with the 4-way roof cap. For additional decoration, I recommend using the wooden shells found in the Decoration tab to accentuate your window trim with a little extra dimension. You can also do this with detail planks, and I would recommend using those to trim the exterior edges of your roof to make it pop. Inside your house, I recommend starting your storage with a row of the wood tables found as the second option under the Tables part of the Decoration tab, and you can hang those directly on the wall just above your little engine house. This storage system will be expanded on later, but for while you're building, this is a good place to start. Your research table can go right next to the front left window, and you can also place a little storage underneath that with extra space for storage in this corner. On the opposite side of the house, repeat the hanging tables for storage, and place your smelters along the right side of the door. On the front of your house, hang a lantern next to either window, and a small crop plot hanging from below the window. Before we create the true farming setup in the tower, you can also scatter some crop plots inside of your house to protect them from seagulls for early food. To connect your house to the lighthouse tower we're going to create, place 2 half walls going towards the left of your raft from that gap in the wall on the far side of your house. Do that on either side of the hallway and connect them using a layer of roof pieces and a square on top. For the first layer of the tower, start at the left of the raft when viewed from the front, where we are going to place an upside-down triangle connected to the hallway and complete that square with the matching normal triangle. Then place 1 half wall diagonally. The next tile should be straight against the edge of your raft if you are using my 12x9 base recommendation, and you'll want to do this system of stacked triangles again in this tile. Curve it back towards the center of your raft with a normal diagonal half wall. On the back edge of the tower, place a window to connect it up to your hallway. When viewed from inside of the hallway, place 2 diagonal half walls going up towards the center of the hallway to create the entrance to the tower. Visually, this clips the upper half wall through your roof, but there are no actual collision issues here, and it allows us to get a diagonal triangle effect, as triangle pieces cannot be placed on diagonals in the normal game. Inside the hallway connecting the main house to the start of the tower, place a row of 3 chests, then hang the same kind of table above them, and then place another row of 3 chests on top. Repeat this process on the other side of the hallway to create some early bulk storage. From the front, add a layer of half walls to the next 2 segments of the tower. When you get to the layer of triangles, stack another identical set of triangles on top of it. Every diagonal wall in this tower should be a normal half wall, but every straight edge should be an alternating pattern of 2 sets of stacked triangles and 2 sets of normal half walls. This is so that when we go to paint the tower, we can get that iconic spiraling stripe, but you can make a simplified version by just using half walls and painting them in alternating rings instead of the spiral. If you do choose to go for the spiral, I'll display my exact final pattern here so that you can cross-reference it as you continue to build up, but you could infinitely continue the alternating 2x2 pattern to make your tower as tall as you want it to be. The first layer of our tower, however, is just these 2 half walls as demonstrated. Cap off this layer using triangle floor pieces, leaving a diagonal hole along the left side, within which you can add a ladder to access the first layer of your roof. You can fill in the center using some of that same wood window scaffolding that we used for the hallway. I use triangles instead of a square for the middle section because it doesn't require any support from walls or pillars once it is placed, so you can remove the windows once the floor is filled. The interior of the first layer of the tower is designated kitchen space. For the early game, start with a grill facing the front of the raft. The cooking pot can go on the diagonal behind the ladder, and you can place a small storage under the left side and a medium storage under the right side for bonus food access. Later, you can place your juicer on the opposite diagonal, leaving access to this window in the back. The next layer of your tower is for navigation to story islands using the receiver, as that has to be placed at least 1 full wall above sea level, but it needs to be at the same height as all of your antenna, and also sufficiently far away. To do that, start by encasing this level with 3 half walls worth of whichever tower pattern you're using, making sure to have a diagonal half window facing towards the front of your raft. You can make the roof for this level the same way as we made it for the floor below. Inside, place your receiver by that window and your first antenna in the opposite corner, behind where your ladder extends up to the next level. Your other 2 antennae will go inside the main house, specifically on those tables we used for early storage. These tables are also 1 level above sea level and can hold antennae with 3 to 4 chests on either side and a lantern in front of them for easy and efficient utility. If you mirror the setup on both sides of the house, you'll have a fully functioning receiver setup with no exposed exterior antenna. As for early game steering, you can really place the sail anywhere on the base layer or on the roof of your current tower. I get rid of the sail later on in favor of the steering wheel, which will go on the same navigation level right next to the receiver, but you could always place the sail along the back of your foundations if you planned on keeping it. When you have access to an engine, cut 3 holes into the floor of your main house, removing the space right next to the engine house. On the flat layer of the engine house, place several carpets and wiggle your engine until you are able to place it through the roof pieces. It takes a little patience, but I promise this glitch is consistent and will work. I've done it at least 100 times, so just keep trying. Once your engine is placed, you can ring the edge with fences to prevent accidents. Along the back wall of your house, place your simple biofuel refiner or your advanced refiner so that the barrel is on the left. This is so that we can bring the fuel pipe out from the back and connect it to the engine around the outside of the house. The window in the engine house also makes the direction lever accessible, but you can hide it with a curtain once you gather the engine controls. As for your anchor, I highly recommend using a carpet glitch over one of the collection nets in the back to place the anchor on solid ground so that you don't have to cut a hole in your raft. It really is as easy as placing down a carpet and wiggling the anchor over it until it places, and you can do that with both varieties of advanced anchors. The rest of the back wall of the main house can be used for honey and flower production, to supply your refiner with a few beehives and several crop pots hanging from the wall. You will have to cut a triangle hole into your foundation in the back where the hallway meets the main house to make way for an electric purifier eventually to automate the water of the farming setup, which is what will go on the third layer of the tower. This layer is another 3 half walls of whatever tower style you're going for, although the roof of this layer is going to be a bit different. I would recommend building one extra layer of your tower now, but know that the floor is going 3 half walls above the last one, and the 4th layer is just to make your life easier down the road. Instead of placing triangle floors normally around the rim and filling in the center of this floor, build a cheap full pillar in the center of the receiver roof and place a cheap raised foundation on top of that to create a double axis offset. Off of that piece, build a horizontal half pillar going in any direction, which then we can use as a base to build a slightly wider floor in the same octagonal shape. Simply connect the sides with triangle pieces, using horizontal half pillars along the straight sides to create the necessary placement requirements. Make sure that you do this whole floor out of triangles to ensure that they don't require structural support from pillars long term. It should be 2 full tiles wide instead of 1, but this creates the lovely effect of a small balcony around what will eventually become the bedroom. For a simplified version, you can just build a balcony out of full floors and triangles around the exterior of your third roof and fill in the rest normally. I just think the end result looks a bit more polished with the smaller balcony. Whichever balcony you choose, ring the exterior with fences and connect the edges down with detail planks to anchor it visually. I do 1 detail plank on each corner with an additional plank in the center of the long straight sides, and then I ring the bottom with more planks for stability. But for the inside of the farm layer, section off the majority of the room with a fence of your choice, and place a triangle floor along the back wall a half layer up. On top of that triangle floor piece, place your sprinkler. Layer in 4 grass plots in the full squares. In the diagonals and along any wall space you want at a height equal to or below your sprinkler, fill in as many medium and small crop plots as you'd like. The sprinkler can automatically reach this entire region, so go with whatever farm orientation works best for you. The fence will hold in animals, and you can even give them a window if you're feeling benevolent. To supply water to your farm, bring a row of pipes down from the 7th half-wall layer of the tower to the electric purifier that lines up with the window in the kitchen. This way the sprinkler will automatically water all of your crops, and you'll have water accessible through the kitchen window from the same purifier. For the final level of the main tower, build it up so that it's a total of 3 half walls above your balcony, and fill in this roof normally. You can finish this layer with a ring of fences, and either a straight-up windmill, or a small hut made out of a full window, an upside-down triangle on the sides with a half window on top, and a cap roof. Leave the back open to slot the windmill in, and use the carpet on a triangle floor in the roof to avoid collision for a more polished lighthouse roof. The interior of that final layer is purely decorative as a bedroom, and you could do any number of layouts here. I personally like this cozy single-player design with a fireplace and a standard bed, but you could do bunk beds for multiple players, hammocks, just be creative. The rest of this build is decoration and polish. I recommend the detail planks on the outside of the main house so that you can paint the roof a solid color and the trim a different color. Add a flag to your front posts for a bit of movement and color. Tree plots are functional and pretty when placed on either side of the entrance, and you can add a few grass plots around the house for a bit more life. If you're feeling extra fancy, line the grass plots with wet bricks and then let them dry. Then place a few potted plants for a special garden. I also filled the extra space in the kitchen with a small seating area and some additional plants and decorations to make it feel more lived in. And you can use detail planks on the floor to create a mini storage crate of sorts, and then fill it with the placeable spices discovered along your journey. The engine controls and the recycler make perfect sense in the navigation level, along with a streamer to check your wind direction. And you can infinitely expand the platform the lighthouse is built on if you want more space to build more houses or more structures. This lighthouse is a simple, aesthetic, and functional build that will get you through an entire playthrough, but it leaves plenty of room for your own creativity to shine as you move through our favorite ocean floating simulator. But that's where this build tutorial ends. Please let me know if you built it and how it goes, and also let me know what kinds of builds you'd like to see from me in the future. I look forward to seeing what everyone makes. Anyways, that's everything from me for now. I hope you enjoyed. Please consider leaving a like if you did, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. It really helps me out. I hope to see you all again soon, but until then, have a great day.